Hi there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Oldenburg Vineyards. Today I'm going to show you how to open up a bottle and how to do it in style, how to do it the correct way. So one of the things that I recently heard, and I was actually quite surprised about this because not everyone actually knows how to open up a wine bottle, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, not everyone knows how to open up a wine bottle. A little known fact throughout the world that people would rather hand over the duties to someone else to open up a bottle of wine because the cork can seem intimidating, which has led to a lot of people actually getting some really massive, bottle openers that are superfluous, that really are, number one, cost way too much money. Number two, are a little bit, I don't know, take the romanticism out of the whole thing. And number three, they are actually just not that fun. No. Now, this may seem very simple to a lot of you, but if we're going to go into more complicated things, we may as well start off at the simplistic stuff and move on later. In German there is a saying, es ist noch nie ein Meister vom Himmel gefallen, which means a master has never fallen from the skies. It means practice, practice, practice until you've got it down. So today I'm going to be using this particular tool over here. This is known as a waiter's friend. And this tool is, for me, absolutely wonderful. It's a very simple corkscrew, but it's got two very important parts to it. The first thing that you will notice is that this is a double-hinged corkscrew. This second part over here is, for me, I feel, one of the most important parts on any good corkscrew. There's a lot of corkscrews that are one long piece like this that are joined over here, and that makes things quite difficult. This second hinge is amazing. I love this hinge. So, two hinges, 1, 2, and of course the most important bit, the actual corkscrew. All right. Okay, before we get into the complicated stuff, did you know that on screw caps, you don't just have to twist the top off, you can actually do this. Who would have thunk? The reason why we do that is so that we have a larger surface area to grab onto when we're opening up this bottle. And in very few cases, you can actually end up cutting yourself on this cap over here, and you avoid that completely by doing that. Food for thunk. Okay, so today I'm going to show you two ways and means to do this. The first method that I'm going to do is to cut above the line over here of this indentation in the bottle. And the second method that I'm going to show you is to cut below the line over here. So why use two different methods? Well, one's always easier, the second one is always a little bit more complicated. The first one is easier because for people that are less involved in hospitality or service management, this is something that is quite simple to learn on the top over here. For those in hospitality, we generally try to cut below the lip on that side. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to have your corkscrew closed. You want to have the knife sticking out because this is to cut the foil. So to cut the foil, you need to have a secure base. Hold it in your left hand if you're right-handed, in your right hand if you're left-handed, and hold your corkscrew in your strong hand. So then you see the first lip, you place your corkscrew on the lip over there, and you start to use the cutting side, and in a rotating motion, you use it to cut through the top. Twist the bottle a little bit if you have to. Remember, we're not in a hospitality or service environment over here, and then this counts less. There we go, until you've got a clean cut all the way around. And what you do then is you use the knife still on the corkscrew to lift it up like that, and look at what you've done there. Now you've got a piece of foil that you can just lift off like that, and your bottle should look like that. So now comes the interesting part where many people have trouble with. Okay, you open up your corkscrew fully, like that. You hold it in the center point over here, and at the same time, you extend the corkscrew itself. Then, now this is the one little trick that I would always like to show you. Use the tip of a corkscrew, and instead of going like that, down straight, go in at a 45-degree angle. Like that, with the point of the tip pointing down straight into the cork like that. And then you do that, and as soon as you've done that, you push in a little bit more and you lift up straight, and then you hold with your left hand in a 90-degree angle, and from there you can literally start screwing in the corkscrew. There we go, until round about this much of it sticks out. This is how much you want. You don't want to go too deep because you don't want to push through the cork. So what you do then is, and this is why this double hinge is so important, look at that, you can bring that back like that, lift up the corkscrew, now you've got the hinge on the lip. Now literally you can do this with just the force of 2 fingers, the thumb and your forefinger over there, and you can start lifting from here. Up, lift towards the side that you're holding on to, and there you've got your first part. Now what you do is you release, do that, and look at that. There you've got the second point. And now it should be pretty self-explanatory what happens next. You hold like this, change your angle like that slightly, and lift. Just lift. And there it is. Slight soft opening. Ooh, that smells stunning. Don't forget to check the cork. That's always something that you want to check. These are DM corks, so the likelihood of there being cork taint on it is very, very slim. Okay, now the second method is a little bit more complicated, and the reason for it being a little bit more complicated is because, of course, for a hospitality service environment, this just looks a little bit better, as well as it is thought to have better properties for wine. So let's show you what it is. So once again, your corkscrew needs to be opened with a knife pointing out, everything else closed. You hold it like this, and now what you do is you start cutting from below the lip. So use a rotational force like that and like that. Ideally, you always want to be keeping the bottle facing forward towards your guest, which might not always be possible. I did slightly change my grip there towards back over here. This is a little bit more advanced. You can put the bottle down and you can rotate it if you want to. Not in a hospitality environment, that's not done. But I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're not necessarily in a hospitality environment, and that's fine. Then what you need to do is you need to make sure that you insert a little cut like that. All right, now that that is done, you insert your knife just around there, and you can see if you can lift off the entire cap just like that. Now this is a little bit more advanced, and the reason why we do this is so that once you pour, often there's a little bit of wine that just comes over the lip, and it doesn't get stuck between the foil over here, as in this bottle over here, doesn't get stuck in between there, because if you're taking some time to serve a wine again, you can actually have some off aromatics that can be a little bit unpleasant, build up over time. If you're planning to finish the bottle in one sitting, that's very unlikely to happen. So we have now taken off a foil, and now it's exactly the same as with the previous bottle. Both of these hinges out, corkscrew facing out, 45-degree angle pointing down with the tip, and press in. And hold in a 90-degree twist until you're roundabout, and you can hold it like that, at that level. So perfect. Now, hinge, second hinge, again, place your pressure like that. 1 lift, 2 lifts, and there it is. Now you can go ahead, smell your cork, and it is perfectly fine. And this is how we do. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed it today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Cheers.